is the Vietnam part of the museum, and it's a big day for us here today at the museum. All our volunteers, all the people here are volunteers. But to find somebody that we haven't found, lost in time over 55 years, Larry, welcome home. Welcome to the museum and welcome home, Larry. It's a great day. The museum is known basically for its military vehicles. Okay? And Larry and I were in the 359 Transportation Company in Vietnam, and we have 4 vehicles from the 359 Transportation Company in this museum today, with all the armament and the stories that go along with it. We're proud to have Larry here. We're going to be filming this whole situation because we are also part of a Smithsonian documentary. Have you seen that or not? It's called Gun Trucks of Vietnam, and the museum is featured in that documentary. It views on the Smithsonian Channel 3-4 times a year.
That one time, and you can't get that channel anymore.
Smithsonian?
Yeah, I tried. I couldn't get all the tape on it the first time.
We could fix it. We have over here 6 parts of the Gun Trucks of Vietnam. I am privileged to be part of that documentary. Part of it was filmed here at the museum, and we brought in a bunch of guys from around the country that we could find. Larry was not able to be found at the time. We had a E8 sergeant named John Porter. He was there the first few days of the war with the 359, and he turned into our historian. He was in charge of finding all these guys, and I didn't get reunited with the group until 2012, when he told me about all the stories and all the ambushes that we were in before I was there, during I was there, and after I was there. One of the big deals here at the museum, all these things and all these displays are for one reason, and one reason only. We're commemorating our war dead. 359, we have 14 guys we lost in Vietnam. 13 of the 14 pictures are on the back wall here with the dates of their demise. And I appreciate it. Everybody takes a look at all those guys. I don't know if Larry knew any of them. What was your hero state? When did you separate from 359?
When did I leave?
Yeah.
27th of November, '69.
November 69. You were there right after me. Or right up until.
Well, I extended. I stayed on.
So did I.
I stayed my year, and then I needed an early out, so I put in an extra like 89 more days.
Okay, I only put 60 more in, and I left Thanksgiving Day.
Well, they end up having us 6-month early out, but I was in a 5-month early out.
Anyway, so you and I were right together all the time. I became a driver of the gun truck Brutus somewhere around September of '69. You do. I didn't think you'd have any recollection of this. I remember that. That was a very proud moment for me. The story of the 359 was we hauled fuel from Seaport at Queen Anne, South China Sea, up through the Central Highlands, 125 miles one way. We did it in the morning, almost looking into the sun. We filled the tankers up and came back, looking into the sun the whole way back. And we had enemy ambushes along the way, sometimes not at all for months, sometimes 2 a day. So it was quite the deal. Gun trucks were created and became necessary to protect the convoys. The real reason, the real heroes of the 359 were the tanker drivers. These guys were basically armed with an M16 rifle, and there was one guy every 100 yards in the county with an M16 rifle. Gun trucks were faced every 10th vehicle Could be something as little as a Jeep with an M60 machine gun on it, or a state-of-the-art gun truck like Brutus, 5-ton cargo. We were always at the end of the convoy because we took care of breakdowns, flat tires, things like that. So Larry and I will get together and talk about some stories that include an in-depth review. I'm sure he's got stuff that nobody else remembers. And we're going to talk about that at length, I hope, if he's comfortable with that. But at this point, everybody stay right where you are. I have been privileged to do a lot of things for the 359. One of them, I'd like to have you take that. And I walked in this museum, an all volunteer situation, as I said before, in 2012, and I met the guy right there on the ramp of the Higgins boat. It was Dave Pursley. Dave was the president at that time, and between he and I and volunteers here, we built these trucks. I got a 5-ton cargo from Chowhound, Pearson.
Is this Prescott or something? I can't remember. Start with a P.
Prescott was Wayne T. Prescott. He built Brutus.
Right.
Okay, but then Chowhound was his nickname. Pearson. He was the guy that always had a pistol, always had a rifle, always had this. He was in the black market, good stuff. I bought the truck.
That's all it's about.
I bought the truck from him. He's living in the state of Washington. We brought it in here, and Dave and the crew went to work on it, and they built an exact replica of the gun truck Brutus. Right down wooden-handled screwdrivers that hold doors together for the spare tires. It's exactly the way it was in Vietnam. Everything is exact on it. Wouldn't have been any other way. Okay? The gun truck, or the gun Jeep, Little Brutus, was part of the first platoon, which Larry and I were part of. And that, too, is an exact reproduction, thanks to Dave Kirsten and Bruce here. The tanker probably interests you most because we all drove tankers. And again, the unsung heroes of the 359 were the tanker drivers. That is stationed down there. That is able to be run. We take Brutus, Little Brutus, and the tanker out for parades in the surrounding area around here. And we took a little vacation from that this year, but in the last 5 years we've had them out on parade. Unfortunately, last week of Wednesday, this old bugger here blew a throwout bearing in the clutch. So it is no longer operative, but it will be when the parade season starts next year. We have mechanics here that are very highly skilled, and they will get that thing done where it sits right now.
Do they ever get together like once a year?
Yes, sir. The next year is in Branson, Missouri. I hope you'll be able to attend.
Where's it going to be?
Branson? Branson, Missouri, southern Missouri. That's where it's kind of the entertainment capital of the Ozarks down there. So we'll get you all that information. It's a very, very good day to find somebody from years and years. We've got the information of different activities on the back wall there. Y'all that want to see the inside of the truck, the ladder on the other side, go up inside to see how we operated, what we had to deal with. The seats in Brutus were not there during the war. It's for old parts like me during parade routes at this point. So no seats in the thing. We stood up all the time. So it's a good day. I'm at a loss for words. I'm so happy about the fact that Larry saw fit to join this group. And I envy all of you because I love shooting traps. I really love shooting traps. I did it for 15, 20 years until I got eye surgery. And now I can't see the end of the barrel. So it's something I really enjoy doing. Okay, anybody wants to get into the...
They might probably be interested on the the notoriety of the truck in Vietnam. It was
Thanks, Dave. The guy that built it, Larry and I both knew him. His name was Wayne T. Prescott. Okay, he was an innovator, a thief. He was everything you needed to have in the Army in Vietnam to get the stuff that we needed to build the stuff. Our transportation company was not allowed to have any guns except the M60.
His uncle was the sergeant of the ammo dump for the 101st Airborne on Cape.
Wayne's uncle? I did not know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That were
We used to go on the ferry, we get fresh ammunition out there.
right. All right.
Where they wanted to put a scope on one of the 50s there for me, and I said no, because the thing would be dust covered. You couldn't go a day with it.
No,
We went through too much dirt.
almost dust and dirt. And
Right. Yeah, we got to 2,500 yards.
It was 2 months after I got home before I got killed. But another guy that helped build Brutus was Jim Bird. Jim was from Michigan, from Holland, Michigan. And Jim named the truck. He named it Brutus. And you might ask, where did he come up with that? Well, the criteria for naming a gun truck was it had to be big and bad. Badass stuff. Intimidate the enemy. Okay. Jim Bird was a fan of the Popeye cartoon show when he was a kid. The biggest, baddest dude on that show was Brutus. So that's what the name came to be, and the color of the paint was signal orange. And it happened to match just perfectly with the OD and the darker color after a few years. And that was an accident. They used whatever they had to use. And then it came to standard for most of the gun trucks in Vietnam, because they wanted it to stand up fine. So Brutus had a $10,000 bounty on it after the big ambush of June 9th, 1969.
Is that in Stars and Stripes?
Pardon?
Is that Stars and Stripes?
I
thought it was.
I had multiple,
Did you get
and I
any
forgot to
first?
settle down today at home. I have multiple articles from the Stars and Stripes, but nothing about that ambush. There's a U.S. Army Transportation Museum in Fort Eustis, Virginia, that I have visited. They have a table display of that ambush. The reason that Brutus had the $10,000 reward on it was because of that ambush. It was one of two that afternoon on the same convoy, but that one was designed to be the big victory for the Viet Cong. They actually charged the road. They wounded four 359ers, didn't kill anybody. But Brutus came up as they were charging the road and decimated them. I mean, he basically wiped out company-size effort by the Cong to basically disrupt our intensive delivering fuel that day. I was in the lead gun jeep that day, and all the guys at Brutus got medals for that because they well deserved it. You remember Al Wilson? Will? He was driving it that day. He got a Bronze Star for unhooking multiple tractor trailers that were burning in the kill zone. And Prescott.
Was there somebody that was blown out of the truck and they were found in the ditch?
That was the second platoon truck.
Yeah.
And that was Finch. Got blown out. That's in the documentary. And after he was on the ground and everybody left the kill zone, the troops came up and, excuse me, shouldn't use that word anymore, I'm told. The enemy came up and shot him in the back with a pistol, and he's still alive today. So he went through a bunch of hell there. So anyway, that ambush of June 9th was something that I'll never forget. Prescott got the Silver Star, Bronze Star for that one. As I came up from the front and started laying down suppression fire, I noticed something was very, very different about this whole situation. Prescott was out there running around, unhooking, burning trailers and stuff, and I noticed something very different. And it wasn't until that evening when I was sitting down, and I said to Wayne Prescott, he says, "What the hell were you doing running around out there in the kill zone in your stocking feet?" And he says, "My feet hurt. I didn't like the way those boots are." So he's out there earning these medals, unhooking burning trucks, tractors, and everything in his stocking feet. And that's what I remembered about that whole deal. It's just something that is pretty bizarre about the whole thing. You didn't have to be in that industry, did you?
I was in another group that was farther back, and we stopped short of the ambush because the new ambush was happening ahead. But there was a secondary convoy back, and they stopped us. They wouldn't let us through. But when we came through, we got to spot the stuff that had happened.
And the armored personnel carriers came up from the other secure areas, and they did a body count for us out there and secured the area. There was the guys that picked up Hish and his other buddy, I can't remember his name right now. Both of them were blown out of the 1st Platoon gun truck, which was named the Misfits. Okay? They weren't even supposed to be in that truck that day. They were coming back from Quinyan after delivering some trucks for a high level of maintenance down there. So they were hitching a ride back. Anyway, his bad luck that day. Okay, Dave, help me out. Anything else?
The bounty, $10,000 for the enemy to knock it out. They paid it out twice. What the enemy didn't know is that if you knock the truck out, they would drag it back with a wrecker like that, repair it, and it could be on the road within a week. So, enemy paid $10,000, good, you knocked out the truck, a week later the truck shows up. What's going on? They paid out 2 times or 3 times.
Twice.
Twice.
From 359.
Before they got smart.
Was there another panel there from the 359?
Back on the back wall, we have Larry Dahl.
1971 or something like that?
1971, February 23rd, I believe, that Larry was in a big ambush. There was an ambush going on, and because we were equipped with radios, all the gun trucks were, the other convoys on the road stopped, and Brutus and 5 other gun trucks pulled up to this one ambush site, the kill zone, and they were basically laying cover fire for the guys that were caught in the kill zone. 5 gun trucks. That's one heck of a lot of firepower. And when the thing was done, normally it's done. When the enemy stops shooting, it's done. And there was actually guys dismounting their vehicles and talking to each other when an enemy soldier stood up and threw a grenade in the back of Brutus, and Larry Dahl drove on the grenade to save the other guys that were in the box. And of course, he did not survive that. So it's all documented pretty good in the documentary here. We can run that for you. It's 45 minutes long. You watch the whole thing. Otherwise, it's in 6 segments over there. So we have here with us today, Dave, come here. Dave Korean was there in 70. I didn't know him, Larry didn't know him. He was in the maintenance department, and he drove Brutus from time to time too as a maintenance specialist. And we're lucky to have him here today, and a lot more times helping us out at the museum as a volunteer. There was another ambush later on called Jim Cagle. Oh, not Jim Cagle. Cagle was the NCOIC of Brutus when, what the heck is that? Yeah, what's it?
I hope you guys realize you're within a few years of when these guys were out there. So anybody in high school right now, think about it. Just in a few short years, you'd be in the same situation. And what would you do in that circumstance? How would you react?
That's pretty good.
How old were you when you're?
I joined the Army when I was 19. I made it to Vietnam when I was 20. and had my 21st birthday there in July.
I had my 20th and my 21st birthday there.
Lucky you.
I got off for my 20th birthday, but I had to work all day on my 21st.
I remember exactly what I did. They worked me. I got up at 4 in the morning on the 28th of July, and I went to bed on the 29th at 4:45 the next morning. That's the day off you have. And I slept till noon, went to the PX and did it all over again the next day. That was your day off for your birthday. The 2 days you had off, your birthday and Christmas. And I'm not sure what happened the rest of the Christmases through the 59th. I was only there for one, and I thank God for that every day. But the Jimmy Ray Callison ambush, where a Wisconsin native was the NCOIC of Brutus at that time. Bill Cagle, we're in touch with him. Bill, you wouldn't have known him, I didn't know him. He was the NCOIC non-commissioned officer in charge, and everybody, all the gunners got wounded. There was a rocket-propelled grenade that hit behind the front tire. It came up through the floorboards and killed the driver. Almost a year to the day that I stepped out of it. Killed him. There was another RPG that hit the side of Brutus, and Bill Cagle had a 50 ammo box. He was reloading the 50 when that hit. The only thing that saved his eyes was his arm up like this, because the shrapnel hit his arm and his forehead and his mouth were all covered with shrapnel. So I, like an idiot, started talking to him about that. He didn't want to talk about it at one of the reunions. Now he's a lot better about it. So that's, I've learned, ease my way into these things by talking to veterans that may not be comfortable with it. Like I said before, the only reason I do this is to commemorate the guys on the back wall. They're the real heroes of the 359 and the Vietnam War, the guys that didn't come home. So that's about it.